is Cholo on Instagram. This is my buddy.
I'm Saul, also as Saul Caves on Instagram.
Around the Bottle is just a channel that Saul and I came up with where the two of us are going to review a working man's perspective of tequilas and just numerous tequilas, and we're going to make tequila fun the way that it's intended to be. Not no snobby, review of tequila, but we're going to make this fun and we're going to have a little party. I don't know, do you want to give a little description of what we plan on doing in the future?
No, absolutely. So we're going to have, as Jeff said, an honest review of a working man's or a working person's perspective. And what we mean by that is exactly that. We won't give the necessarily the technical aspects of, nutty notes and, sweetness of the barrel. No. We're going to call it like it is. And some of you might agree with it, some of you might not. So we will always appreciate a comment on what your thoughts are. So always leave those down below. But the intention of the channel will be to not only review these tequilas that are out there, but also give a different perspective of what some perhaps think is a good tequila. There is some knowledge behind what we speak on. We're not experts, but there's definitely homework that we're doing on these. And where I'm going is that there's not necessarily better quality because you're paying more on them. So keep an eye out for some of that. And the honesty will definitely come out when it comes to it. What we'll have is going to be good conversations behind these reviews and around these bottles that we're going to be tasting. And those conversations will not only be between Jeff and myself, but they'll be between people within our community. And that's going to be local businessmen, car builders, people in the custom culture, tattoo artists, barbers, photographers,
makeup artists,
you name it. We're really restaurant owners. We're really trying to get an honest working person's review on these tequilas. So that's what the intention of that is.
And everybody's got a bad stigma with tequila because everybody's probably drinking Jose as their first tequila.
Absolutely.
And if most people don't know that, for it to be called tequila, it needs to be 100% puro de agave. And if you look at Jose Cuervo, it doesn't say it's not called tequila.
Is that right?
Yeah, it just says Jose Cuervo Especial.
I didn't know this. See,
because it's filled full of fillers, and that's what gives you the hangover. Because it's got less caramel.
We're talking on the 18 or the Jose Cuervo Especial.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, the traditional square bottle that everybody's used to with the yellow label.
Yeah.
The one that we all drank when we were 12, 13.
Okay,
we thought we were adults. Yeah, it's the caramel and everything like that. It usually gives you a headache. But yeah, and then in the future with the third party, we're really excited about these interviews. And I think everybody else will be too, because it's going to vary on who we're speaking to, and it's going to be a vast range of people from like you said. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm ready to hit the road running.
Just think about it this way, the conversations are going to be so wide that there'll be a lot of topics that we'll cover. So it should turn into a very interesting project. So we hope that you guys like it. We're very excited about it, and a lot of the people that we'll have featured, who we've spoken to, are just as excited as we are. So,
they're all ready to drink.
Pretty much. Like Jeff said, we're making this fun. We're gonna make this a party. And to Jeff's point, going back real quick to the whole Jose Cuervo that we all drank as youngsters. The thing about tequila, going to that bad stigma that people have towards it, is because I think everybody has had a very bad experience with tequila. We all have. I don't think there's a single individual that can say, well, I haven't. I had plenty of those. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I have.
But one of the things that we will be doing, I'll tell you this, is that we will be shooting some knowledge that we've learned along the way. And the first thing I'll tell you is that, what's the first thing that you think of when you think of tequila? Like, you see these here and you're like, why do you have these here? Like, why don't we have any shot glasses, right?
Because everybody thinks you're supposed to shoot it.
Everybody thinks you're supposed to use tequila. It's not the case.
No.
Or at least not all tequilas.
No.
But, we'll have some of that. We'll just keep it fun. There will be some shots for sure. Stay tuned for that. If you have any suggestions on somebody you'd like us to see interview once we start getting on that role, please let us know. Or even now, if you have somebody that you think would be an interesting individual to have on the show or on the channel, share it with us. Leave a comment, send us a message, and we will get back in touch with you, and we'll talk about it, because we invite anybody to come out and just have a conversation around the bottle with us.
And shoot the shit. And it goes for different bottles of tequila, because there's definitely bottles of tequila that we're unaware of.
Absolutely.
And you guys may have a favorite, so comment or suggest a tequila, and we'll try to acquire it and get it, and we'll taste it, and we'll do a review on it, which would be pretty fun.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So we're looking for it. So with that intro, and we're going to shoot it from the hip, because none of this is going to be edited or scripted, and that's the whole intent around this, is that we're going to grab a bottle. My parents drank this a lot growing up, and then I met my wife, and her father drinks it regularly. So it's kind of my favorite, just because it's like a family favorite. So this is Centenario. I usually drink the Reposado, but we haven't opened this one yet. And I can't remember the last time I actually had the Añejo. But Centenario is a really old tequila. It was founded in 1857. And after that, the owner, after he founded it in 1857 and started distilling it, he sold it in his tavern. And then when he sold it in his tavern, later on in about 1920, his son, Luciano, decided that he was going to bottle it. And it's actually named after, Grand Centenario, after the coming new century. So that's where the father got the name. And then the son decided to design the bottles after, an Art Deco scene. So you can see the first time that you look at these bottles, they look like they're from the 20s, like from the Roaring 20s.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can see that,
and it hasn't changed.
Yeah, you can definitely see the lines.
And that was the motif going for it. And this is an original flavor, as they say. And one uniqueness that you'll get from Centenario, which makes it really smooth, is that they take a little bit of the reserves from older barrels of tequila, and they mix it in with the newer bottles of tequila to give it a smoothness.
So they take like the previous batch and they mix that batch with the new batch. Okay.
The same way that they do like sourdough bread in San Francisco, right? They always keep that little crumble of sourdough, and they take a piece of it, and it keeps
yeast,
growing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Keep the yeast going. Yeah.
And I think that's the secret here. So we're gonna crack this thing open, and I'm gonna add to this. So we actually have some other videos in the works, but we need to mention that this is a Highland tequila, and there is a difference between Highland and Lowland tequilas. For it to be called tequila, it needs to come from Mexico.
From one of 5 states.
One of 5 states, and we'll go into history, and we plan on acquiring bottles from each state, so then we can give you the reason why they're allowed to distill and make tequila and call it tequila. But Jalisco is the birthplace of tequila, and if you've ever been, you need to go to the Pueblo de Tequila, and you can go to the distilleries, and it's a beautiful place with great food and great tequila all over the place, and it's the Napa Valley basically of Guadalajara.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, you see the blue agave growing, and it's just beautiful, and it just goes, and it's rows and rows and rows. And I was fortunate enough to experience that, and it's a beautiful place with a lot of good tequila and beautiful people. You want to crack it open?
Absolutely. So just to piggyback on what Jeff was saying, this is actually one of my favorite tequilas as well. I've drank this since I was a kid. Centenario Plata happens to be one of my favorite ones. On the dollar scale, it's on the lower end, but quality is pretty good. Here in the States, you'll find it for about the same price on any one of them. But real quick, so this past weekend was my grandma's 84th birthday, 83rd birthday, I don't know. That's fucked up. I can't remember her exact birthday. Anyway, but we killed a 3-liter bottle of one of these. I was trying to keep the bottle to have it here on the channel today, but somebody beat me to it and it went on the trash, so it's cool.
And I think I told you my mom brought a 3-liter bottle to my son's graduation party, at our house.
No.
And we killed the bottle that one night. The same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure, I've never even seen a bottle that big of Centenario.
Yeah, they have. You'll find many bottles in Mexico that they have like 3 liters of that bottle, and it's the exact same presentation, just on a grander scale.
That presentation right there.
That presentation is pretty cool. But yeah, real quick. So, quick little side note, and you'll see this a lot. Quick way to know that a tequila comes from Mexico. There's 2 things to it. One is the percentage of alcohol volume. In the States, you're gonna have 38 to 40% alcohol volume. In Mexico, you're gonna have 35% alcohol by volume. And the other thing is, in the States, you'll have a cork. As we're in Mexico, you'll have. I don't think I have it. Oh wait, yeah, I do. Is this one it? Yeah. It has a cap that's got marble so that it'll have a smaller stream, and the intention was that you measure your consumption. That never works either way. But yeah, it just flows more.
Yeah, and everybody's worried about labels, and they're always worried about stuff. But like, if you go to Mexico, you get like a bag of potato chips. There's warning labels all over the front, and you don't get them here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do things a little different in Mexico.
Yeah.
The same things.
You get them in other products though. Some pretty nasty labels too. Like
Yeah,
cigarettes.
and on the label, it says it's been around since 1857. That's just old.
Yeah.
And this stuff smells great. It's got I don't know. It's one of my favorites and it's smoothest. So Saul bought this. I don't know where you bought it from and what you paid for it.
I bought it at Cardenas Market. Cardenas Market is the local chain of supermarkets here. And I just got it maybe, I don't know, a few hours ago, and I think I paid like $37 for it. Is it a 3/4? Yeah, it's got to be a 3/4. It is a 3/4 liter bottle. It's actually not badly priced for the quality that it provides, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But let's give it a shot.
All right. That was a pretty even pour.
Yeah.
It's that little bit of Asian in me got the little feng shui going.
I think so. That, or he started going to bartending classes and I don't know about it. He never shared that with me.
I might as well promote these things just to give a little tidbit. I got these from Amazon for like $39 in a set of 4, and it came in like a really nice case for tequila tasting.
So
glasses.
A little disclaimer: none of these are sponsored. So
yeah, we're not plugging anything. We're
not
just telling
plugging
you where
anything.
we
We're
bought
just
them
sharing what we're getting here. So this is what Jeff got here for us. It's actually a really cool place.
It is $39. You know, I'm a construction worker, so I can't. You know, I ain't balling like that to be buying fancy sipping glasses.
Same here. I mean, they do the job and shit. The box is really cool.
It is, and it's got a little velvet on the inside.
It's a little bougie. Little protection for them. Satin silk. It works.
It works. Gets the job done.
Absolutely. All right. Well, there's that plug. All right.
Salud.
Salud, man.
Let's see if taste buds are different. So I get only an initial burn on the tip of the tongue, on the outside of the lips, but nothing on the back of the throat. So
I don't get any of the burn on the tongue. I get it on the lips a little bit, ever so slightly on the back of the throat.
Okay, and maybe I need to clarify. It's not a burn; it's a tingle. Is that better?
Yeah, that's a better way to describe it. Yeah,
it's a tingle.
It's a tingle. It's not a burn. It's a tingle.
It's a tingle.
I took a nice sip of air just to see if any other like flavors come out. I know we said we weren't gonna get technical, but it's not necessarily getting technical because I won't go through like the 300 notes that it has. But where I'm getting at is that a tequila really is meant. There's certain tequilas that are meant to be just sipped on and enjoyed and In Spanish, the word is degustar. Degustar really means like taste it, like the literal meaning. You know, taste the flavors. Don't just shoot it. I don't know how much a shot. How much do you think a shot is of one of these at a club or at a restaurant?
I've never seen Centenario in a club. I haven't been to a club in a while.
I haven't been to a club in a while, but
it's
true.
I haven't seen Centenario in a club, and they always have their club favorites, right? Remember in the early 2000s, it was Patron.
Patron, yeah.
Patron was a club favorite, which
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know. You couldn't buy Patron
in Mexico.
Yeah,
you could now, but
then when it was popular.
But when it's popular, yeah.
Exactly. There's another one, Casamigos. You can't buy in Mexico either.
Casamigos you can't buy in Mexico, and I don't even know why you could buy it here, to be honest.
Yeah.
With you. But that's for another video.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I'm just wondering how much a shot of that would be at a club, and I want to say if it's the average of any other shot that you get, you know, like not high end, quote unquote, like Casamigos high end, price wise. I'd probably say maybe like $12.
$12 for a shot?
You know?
It's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth it compared to like what you're gonna get.
It is. And where I'm getting with that is, I'm a little frugal sometimes. I don't know about you, but if I'm gonna spend $12 on this here, I'm gonna take my time with it.
Yeah, I never really understood like going somewhere and just like pound shots, and then just.
Yeah, let's do shots.
Yeah, it's not my.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's fun sometimes.
It's not my thing.
Maybe it's a way. It might be a good way to like get yourself ready for, you know, like
for the night.
A primer, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, a primer.
Yeah.
You know you're gonna step out. You're gonna have to go hang out with some people you really don't want to hang out with just because you're being involved. You just take a shot real quick, slam it, go out the door, and have a good night.
Yeah, that's happened a time or two with my girlfriend and some of her friends. I won't name any names.
Yeah,
but I'm sure it's happened to all of us.
I'm trying to add something else to this, and this is actually a really good tequila for the value compared to others. You could actually buy it everywhere, local grocery stores, not just the mercados.
Yeah.
You know, the store that Saul was describing, only because I'm familiar with it and my wife's Mexican, is that there's up here in Northern California just as much as in Southern California and anywhere else that there's Latinos and Mexicanos. There's always got like, you have your regular mercados, and then you have like a chain of them, and like, you know, like in the peninsula there's Chavez's, and then like Cardenas is everywhere, really.
Yeah.
Because it was Pueblo, and I think
it was Mi Pueblo before. Yeah,
it was Mi Pueblo, and I don't know how it is in Southern California.
In Southern California, they have they're called Vallarta.
Yeah, that's
Vallarta's
right.
markets, yeah. And I think they have them all the way from like, I think it's LA County, and then it goes all the way to like Santa Maria area, somewhere right there. It cuts off, like somewhere in the Central Coast. But yeah, it's the same exact thing. So think of it like, it's a good way to put it in like an American market chain,
like you could
like
only
a Lucky's,
like an
or a
Albertsons and a
Safeway's,
Safeway.
Yeah,
And
like Albertsons and Safeways. Yeah,
the regional.
Yeah, for sure. And then you have the smaller ones like a mom and pop shop, like Primo's Market, or you know,
or
that's
just
good.
one market. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm pretty sure you can get this at Safeway.
Oh yeah.
I've never looked for it, but I'm pretty sure you can find this at Safeway or any of the. I know they have them at Costco.
Yes.
And I'm actually gonna, next time I go to Costco, I'm gonna see how much they go for, and they probably have the 1 liter bottles at Costco. Actually, Costco has the big stuff. I wonder if they have the 3 liter ones ever. Because I know they had I've seen the Patron ones in the past.
Yeah, I'm actually going to ask my mom because it wasn't my celebration, but she handed it to me, so I don't know what that was about. But it was a good celebration.
I'm curious to know about that.
This is really good for the money. It is definitely a sipping tequila. Like, there's no reason to shoot this. You could get home from work, sit down on the sofa, go in the garage, work on the car, just take a sip. I've had it. I haven't had an añejo in a long time. This was usually my go-to, which is the reposado. It was when I got back from a deployment from Iraq. I had a roommate who wasn't really my roommate, but he decided to shack up with me because I was a lonely staff sergeant at the time, and I was in the barracks. My wife was already stateside. But long story short, every night I would pour about 2 shots of this in my coffee, and I would always have like a night coffee before I went to bed, and that's all we drank. And then at the time, I was slinging tattoos inside the barracks when I wasn't supposed to, and it's just an interesting story for another time. But I've drank that stuff ever since I was a kid, and I'd sneak it, and my parents would be partying in the living room with all my aunts and uncles, and it definitely brings back a lot of memories. And then my father-in-law, every time we go to Mexico with my wife's from Guadalajara, and her father lives in a nice little pueblo outside of Guadalajara, about 45 minutes, I think.
What's the name of it?
Ixhualacán del Río.
Oh, Ixhualacán del Río. Yeah.
It's nice, and he's got a nice life, and he drinks tequila. He's not an alcoholic or anything like that. I'm not implying that, but he sips it, and he kind of like taught me how to appreciate it and not shoot it. So it gave me a great appreciation. My father-in-law gave me a great appreciation for tequila and having a good time and being sociable. So I commend him for that. But yeah, that's our intro. That's what we plan on doing. If you want to add anything else.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is just one simple conversation that Jeff and I are having at this moment, and whatever time we spent on it, there's been a few things that I've learned about Jeff and that I've learned about tequila itself, which I didn't know. And that's what the whole premise of the channel is, to share knowledge, have good conversation, and as we said, the topics will range all over the spectrum, and you'll probably see follow-up interviews, follow-up conversations, and videos, perhaps around that specific same bottle, but just on a whole different topic. We can sit here and we can kill a bottle, no problem.
No, for sure. You know what? Let's just not cut it real short. I think maybe we're like at 10 minutes or so. The intent was not to make this a really long video. I think we'll finish this off, but we really didn't even describe who we were and like where we're from. And maybe we do a little intro, so that's part of the intro, so that people get to know Saul and people get to know Jeff. True. So
you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go first. So Jeff, also Chinese Cholo. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and grew up in the East Bay of California. I kind of bounced around all over the place. I was a troubled kid. Lived with all my grandparents, which ends up happening because your parents get tired of you. Joined the military at like 21, right after 9/11, and had a lot of fun doing that. It wasn't so fun for my wife and my kids, but I had fun doing it. And now I'm an electrician. I'm a regular construction worker. My money counts. I work hard for my money, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much where I'm from and what I'm about. I like working on cars, collecting cars if I can, drinking tequila, shooting guns. I'm trying to think what else. Surfing. I'm in the water about 3 to 4 days a week. I'm not Kelly Slater or Rob Machado, but I may think I am. And a lot of times it's just me sitting in the water, just kind of getting that personal time, turning my phone off because I can't take my phone with me, just sitting in the water and just thinking about life, and it balances me out with the tequila. Granted, I'm not drinking tequila and surfing at the same time, so
yeah, it might not be a good mix.
No.
So where's Jeff? I don't know, dude. He got a convulsion or something. He's way out there.
He's somewhere out there.
As for myself, I'm Saul Caves on Instagram. Man, I'm not as cool as Jeff, I'll tell you that much.
Fuck you.
So
it's the life of the party.
It's not true. I'm a regular guy. I'm literally like your average Joe. I like to stay like way in the background, and then somehow I get noticed, which is nice and it's appreciated. No, I was born in Ventura, California, and a little side note, every time I go to Ventura for a car show, I tell everybody like, dude, I feel at home. I mean, shit, I got the Ventura sign tattooed on me just because I love it that much. But I was born there. When I was about 2 months old, I was taken to Mexico by my parents, and I lived in Mexico all the way till I was 14 years old. At the age of 6, my parents split up, and then I lived with my mom and my grandparents, and then my great-grandparents. So I had a pretty rough upbringing as far as like family life went. We didn't have a nuclear family, so that was that. It was just my mom and my grandparents raising me. Didn't really have a father figure because my grandfather passed away at a very young age for myself, so I just had to learn how to just do shit on my own, which is kind of cool because I was raised in a household with. There were two males in our household, which were my uncles. One of them was married, and he was just a grouch, but I love him to death. And my other uncle was very much a father figure to me, but it wasn't necessarily a male figure to me. He taught me a lot, and I love him to death. But like I didn't have a dad, so I had to figure out a lot of shit on my own at a very young age. So anyway, at 14, my mom decides to bring us out here because my dad was in our life, and it was a little rough for us to be around him because of his choices. We'll just put it that way. He's passed on now, rest in peace, and I love him to death too. But that's for a whole other video. Got here at 14. I lived in San Jose from the age of 14 till about 23, and then I moved to Sacramento for a few years. Then I decided to come back. Been here ever since. I work in finance. I've been doing that for the last 20 years. So I know sometimes we judge on appearances, and you would never think that I have a background in finance and deal with that kind of stuff on a normal basis. You'll see me in a suit and tie, and I'm like a whole different. It's like I'm in a different character. Period.
Yeah, you're Saul, not Saul.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Cuevas, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm the same dude here or there. Actually, a lot of my clients have seen me outside of work and they trip out. Like, they've never realized that I have tattoos. They just like they'll see me in regular clothes and they trip out, which is kind of funny. I'm a jack of all trade and master of none. Like, I just like to get my hands on
everything,
just different stuff, just trying something new, and I like it and I enjoy it, and then I try to get something else done. I'm very much into cars, just like Jeff. As a matter of fact, that's how Jeff and I met. We met through the car scene, and it's been like 6-7 years maybe.
Yeah, actually,
like
yeah.
NorCal Knockout, was it?
It was NorCal Knockout, which that show's not around anymore.
It's not around anymore.
And every time I drive through Vallejo, I always think about it. I'm like, dude, there was a car show there.
Yeah, it was a cool ass show too.
It was a good show.
But yeah, I enjoy working on cars. I don't consider myself a car builder, but I definitely work on myself. Like, I put in a lot of work on my own. I know Jeff does too, and yeah, that's pretty much who I am. I used to be a car collector, and then it just got expensive.
It gets out of hand.
Yeah, dude, it's like it's an addiction. Put it this way, I probably at one point owned like 7 cars, and I don't even own my own house.
Yeah.
So I would always call up on friends like, "Hey, dude, is it cool if I keep a car over here?"
Yeah.
I overstayed my welcome in a few places, which is understandable. So that was kind of the thing that just kind of did it for me. Like, all right, I shouldn't do this kind of stuff.
At one point when we get Fernie on here, so Fernie El Famoso, he's a tattoo artist. I remember him and I had a conversation, and I asked him about a car, Love Machine, because I did.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So another thing is I used to dabble in photography, so I used Fernie's Love Machine from Cheech and Chong Up in Smokes. He did a perfect rendition of it, right? And I used it, and I had, my wife and her friend got in costume, and we reshot that, and it helped with photography. But where I was going is, I asked him where his car was, and I remember that day, he was like, well, you gotta remember, he was like, I gotta remember where I parked it, because he had, like, at the time, like, maybe, like, 5 or 6 cars, but he had them, like, all over the Bay Area parked.
This is when he lived out here still.
This is when he was in the East Bay. He was like, well, I don't know, it may be in Antioch, it may be in Oakley, it may be here, I don't know, I gotta figure out where it's at. But he came through and he brought it for the photo shoot, which is interesting, and I've been there. I personally would collect them all if I could, but it's kind of like my surfboard addiction. I gotta like get rid of one before I could get a new one, kind of deal. So I usually keep about five surfboards. I keep about 2 cars, and then I use a third as the floater per se, and I sell that one to get something else. And I guess it's better to say that you owned it at one point than never owning it.
It's funny, dude, that you say that, because so the whole thing about jack of all trades, master of none. So I don't know if I ever told you I started writing a book.
No.
I'm
Well,
like-
you mentioned it, I think.
So yeah, I started writing. I started writing a book. At some point, it'll be finished. And before I go into that, yeah, I'm an avid traveler. I love traveling. Many of you that know me, that's actually how a lot of people know me. It's just because I travel a lot. I just passionately love it, and I'm not saying it to impose it or to show off. No. I mean it because like I genuinely love traveling and exploring new places. Jeff's actually gone on a few trips with me. I've gone on a few places with Jeff and his wife. So yeah,
We share it.
yeah, we share that in common.
We share
We
that
definitely
love.
share that in common, and I think that's what at one point like brought our friendship even tighter. And at some point, I'm pretty sure we'll have some video and conversations on location, like on our travels.
That'd be badass.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Don't know when.
Don't know when. It will
It's gonna
happen.
happen.
Like we're manifesting that. Like we're decreeing it. It's gonna happen. But anyway, where I was going with it is or what I was saying before that is now I lost my train of thought.
It's a tequila, bro.
Nah, dude, I've been working like 14, 15-hour days.
Yeah, same,
Believe me,
same,
it ain't the tequila.
What time is it now? Right now?
Let's see. It's 10:38.
It's 10:30. I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, I'm not that cool.
No, it's not that you're cool, but you've been up. It's 10 o'clock at night on a, I don't know, Tuesday, and we're drinking tequila to unwind, and we're just talking and we're shooting
Yeah.
shit. So fuck, I'm losing my train of thought myself.
Yeah, I fucking had a brain fart right now.
It happens. I'm trying to think of some other interesting concepts. You know what? Not to keep this long. I really want to point on this. Is that you said that you didn't really have a lot of male role models or male figures in your life growing up.
Right.
And I'm not trying to like bolster this, but my wife made an observation because I was making an observation to my wife yesterday, actually having a conversation about my grandfather. Is that I was like, after my grandfather passed just recently, and then I have a separate grandfather who raised me as a kid, who I'm just gonna say it's a black man from Louisiana who happened to marry my Irish, Scottish grandmother on my dad's side, who she just loved she loved guys of color and ethnicity, and she didn't discriminate on who she had kids with. So I'm Chinese Cholo because my biological grandfather's from Toisan, China. So where I was going with this is my Chinese grandfather passed, my black grandfather's in hospice right now, but I was reflecting on that, and we're just reflecting now before this gets really long-winded. And I was just going through my wife through photos because I actually went to my black grandfather's house while he was in hospice and said my goodbyes, and we were scrolling through his photo books, and I just realized like how many photos he had of me as a kid. So where I'm going with this is that, on the contrary, I was very fortunate, and what my wife said is that I was very fortunate to have a lot of strong male role models in my life to kind of like mold me at different times in my life, along with like my gangbanger uncles, which would be a cool ass conversation later, because I eventually became a gangbanger. So it wasn't like to boast or say that like that. I just wanted to like show some appreciation that like I had like all these like
male
great
models.
great like, and it takes you being I'm 41, gonna be 42. It took that long for me to kind of realize that like I had like good men in my life to like set the example of like how to be a man.
Right.
But then on you're a good man, but you had to figure it out on your own.
I had to figure that out on my own.
And that's even harder.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When I say I didn't have any male role models, I meant that growing up, like literally, like the formative years of your life, like between. I had my uncles who I love very much, but they weren't always there because I lived in Mexico, they lived here, and then one of my uncles, like growing up, it was like I always butted heads with him.
Yeah.
In fact, my cousin was here this weekend, his daughter, and we were sitting on the couch here. And we're just reminiscing when we were kids, and she's like, "Hey man, my dad used to be an asshole to you," and I was like, "I know."
Yeah.
And we just started talking about it, but at the end of the day, it was just it made me realize, the hell, Don't get a brocha because it's fucking annoying sometimes.
Yeah, that's what my wife says.
My girlfriend hasn't said that yet.
Yeah.
You know, I remember my thought that I lost earlier is when I was about in my late 20s, when I came back to San Jose from Sacramento. I grew up in a mobile home park. In fact, my mom still lives there.
Yeah.
And it's a cool little community.
I've been there.
You've been there.
Yep.
And the man that was the guy that managed it, he came in right before we moved in, and he managed that place for probably 22 years. And then he passed away. So towards the end of his life, probably the last 2-3 years of his life, I used to hustle cars left and right. Like, you know, I used to buy one, like you said, you know, I used to buy one, do nothing to it, sell it to the next guy, make enough money, buy
before
the next
the
one.
TV shows started doing it.
Way before the TV shows, like way before the TV show started doing this. And he used to see me coming in with all kinds of cars, and he started asking me like, "Hey man, like, is it worth it?" Like, hell yeah, it's worth it, dude. I mean, I'm 20-something years old and I'm making a few extra grand a month just doing this. And we became business partners, and him and I got really close. And mind you, this was a grumpy fucking man growing up. Like, this was like Mr. Wilson for Dennis the Menace for us growing up. Like, he didn't want you doing anything outside of the rule book. And where I'm going with it is, towards the end of his years, he became like a male role model for me. Or a mentor almost, right? Yeah, because it was no longer, I was already formed on who I was, but he was a mentor, and he was somebody that I can go to and talk to. And this alludes to what you were talking about earlier. Like, he's the one that taught me, when you buy a car, like, don't fall in love with them.
That's hard for me. I get attached.
Yeah, because I used to do that, but then I partnered up with him, and he taught me that. So, like, that's where I kind of started getting a little bit more tough with my cars. Like, all right, I'm not gonna fall in love with this one. I like it a lot, but I'm gonna sell it.
You know, it's a good motto, and maybe it's something I could look at, and it'll help. I did the same thing, but there's a saying: you should never bet on your own personal sports team. So it's the same, right? Have you ever heard that?
No.
So if you're gonna bet, you should never bet on your team. You should never ever so if you're a gambler, and you should never gamble on your team. You should look at the spread and gamble on two, like, let's say football, Tennessee Titans and 49ers.
Sure.
Neither one of them are your team. You should bet on that game, and look at it for statistics. Look at it as a business opportunity,
right,
to make money.
Because you don't have any emotional attachment to the team.
That's where I'm going with it. So then you get the car. Don't buy the car that you would ever have any emotional attachment. Don't buy the car that you personally would want.
Yeah, I already made that mistake.
You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
And that's where, like, and same thing, like, I just sold the 59.
In fact, I'm living in that mistake right now.
And that's just like a life lesson. So if you're going to do these investments, and the same thing like you were saying, flipping, I got out of the military with, I think, in 2009 with like $5,000. Yeah. I took a fat pay cut. And I was like trying to figure out like how I do it. And it just happened before all these shows happened at the same time. I think we were probably flipping cars at the same time. We just
probably, yeah.
Fast. But I had like a little system where like my mother-in-law owned a body shop, and across the street, like literally across the street, was an upholstery shop.
Right.
And then I had a beat and wheel guy, so I knew what my price was on what I was getting, and I always rotated $5,000. And then it went from a shitty car to like a '67 Chevelle, and then a '66 Chevelle, and then a '62 Impala, and it just kept climbing.
Right.
And then to the point where like then I was like flipping bikes and boats, and then my wife was thinking, she's like, hey, and we lived in Antioch at the time, and she's like, we got all this shit sitting in front of the house, and people are probably gonna think that we're drug dealers, and you know what I mean, like, one day someone's gonna come, kick in the door, or do a home invasion,
Right.
God rest their souls if they did, but that's where I was going. It's like I was in the same boat that you were, and so back to the initial statement is, whenever you're doing those investments, a good thing
not to invest on something that you're
like.
Emotionally attached to.
Exactly, and I have to learn that lesson myself.
Yeah. No, yeah, I definitely agree with you, and that's one of the things that his name was Roger. Roger taught me, and it was interesting because I actually, my current car that I have, I bought it literally the year Roger passed away. or shortly after Roger passed away, I had a car. In fact, I had a deal with him because we would go. Yeah, so we would go in halves on cars.
Yeah.
And then we'd split the profit. He was older and he passed away of cancer and he didn't have the time or the know-how or even the will to be out there like talking to people and just BSing. But he loved what kept him going was going out and finding the car. And like I get off of work, hey Roger, I found this car on Craigslist, but it's all the way out in Bakersfield. And I'd call the dude up, hey dude, I want this car, like we make a deal. You want to go tonight? Because this thing's going to be gone by this weekend. Fuck it. Pick me up. So like I just go pick him up. And he loved being, it kept him alive. Like it kept him going. And I would do all the legwork for everything. But anyway, where I was going is he just he's the one that just started telling me like, just don't fall in love with this car because of course at some point he had a financial investment in that, so it couldn't be like, well, I kind of like it for myself, so I'm just gonna buy your portion out.
That'd almost be like you guys trying to share a girlfriend.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Which would never work out because one of you guys
would
fall in love.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, it was one of those things, and then from that moment forward, I was like, all right, maybe I shouldn't do this. But then I came across that fucking Lincoln, man. That damn thing.
And I remember seeing that Lincoln at that car show.
Well, that was at that car show that I saw it, and I was like, I'll buy this car.
It was gold and cream.
This was gold and cream, yeah.
And it was the first time I've ever seen a 57 Lincoln done like right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Saul took it to a different level, but
yeah, I took it to a whole different level, and it's still gold.
Yeah. But I remember, I think I took a picture of it, and then that's how you found it on Instagram, or I posted on Instagram because I was in my amateur photography thing, and then you followed me, and then it just turned into like, oh yeah, that's my car, thanks, for the shot
that's
or something like that.
Yeah.
And then at the time, then you had a badass Buick at the time,
right?
And then I had a Buick, and I asked you if you just wanted to do a photo shoot, and I brought my wife.
Yeah, you guys came
down.
down.
Yeah, and it just kind of we clicked since then.
Yeah, So I think part of it, to be honest with you, is like with this Lincoln, I met so many people that I know now that I'm really cool with. Some are acquaintances, some are really good friends. But that car for sure brought me a lot of good people in my life. Like it's brought me a lot of good people in my life.
So it's the opposite of Christine. It's a good luck charm.
Exactly. But speaking of, so I don't know if I had this conversation with you or not. I was talking with somebody about it. Have you ever realized that Christina is always looked at as an evil car?
I think we talked about this. It's actually,
I was telling you about this.
What's that whole thing? It's actually
it's
the
not
hero.
Evil. Like,
it's actually the hero, not the
he's
antagonist.
A hero in the car. Yeah, he's not the antagonist. It's a hero of the movie because he's defending his owner the whole time. Like
the entire time.
He would only kill people, or she would only kill people that were talking shit or were going to hurt the owner, right?
That's pretty interesting.
I saw it somewhere, but I was reading about it somewhere. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Well, it's almost like the opposite. Like if you think about the Karate Kid, right? You've ever seen the satire or maybe the meme that like maybe Daniel was really the asshole.
I read that somewhere recently too.
Right, and really Johnny was just like a guy just really trying to like navigate through high school, and here comes this fucking new kid from the East Coast, like thinking that he owns a place, trying to like vibe on the West Coast and just like create a bunch of shit. Jumping in between a boy, like how would you take it if like some fucking dude jumped in between like a disagreement between you and your girl?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's just like jumping, like, dude, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Yeah,
Who the fuck you think you are? So maybe Daniel is really the asshole.
It's true. Well, did you see Cobra Kai?
He's the asshole in that.
He's a fucking asshole, dude.
The asshole.
Yeah,
Daniel. The asshole.
Yeah, what's his character? Yeah, Daniel Russo. Yeah.
He's a fucking jerk.
He's a jerk.
He's a douche.
He's a straight up douche, man. Like
he plays it well.
Yeah, I haven't seen the whole series, but I started watching it. I was like, dude, this guy's a fucking dick.
Yeah, I don't know. He kind of looks like a fucking douchebag in real life, though.
Does it? Well, yeah.
You can tell. Yeah, he's always a Karate Kid to me.
We're not judging. We're just
saying.
We're just basing it on appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a point. Don't judge a tequila bottle off of appearance either.
Absolutely not. And see, this is where we're wanting to do with this channel is just topics range all over the place, but they're cool topics to talk about, and maybe they'll spark something in your mind, like, oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm definitely having fun. What do you think? You think that was good?
Absolutely.
We appreciate you guys for joining us, and we're hoping to have our first guest up soon. And,
Yeah, probably within the next couple weeks. If this goes up before Labor Day weekend, check out Ventura Nationals. That's a show that goes on in Ventura, California. A lot of cool stuff. Definitely a lot of people that we're thinking of and that we'll have from down that area. So stay tuned for that.
We got a lot of support, just to give you a heads up. Like when we called, it was like everybody down there was 100% on board and was, I think, even more excited than we were about doing this with them.
Yeah, no, the enthusiasm is definitely there. So we appreciate you guys. You guys know who you are. So when you see this, you know we've been in communication with you, and you will be given your proper credit on that as well.
Oh,
but
for sure.
you know, we just want to keep it on the hush for now until we have it all wrapped up. But yeah, stay tuned. We're gonna have a lot of cool stuff. Like I said in the beginning, if you guys have any suggestions, any comments related to it, don't hesitate. Shoot them our way. We're not gonna be butthurt. And if you have a good suggestion, we'll follow through with it. We'll follow up at least with it, and go from there. But in the meantime, remember, just don't drink and drive. Drink responsibly. Have a good time. And
that's pretty much it. And if you don't like it, say you don't like it. It's cool. We all got thick skin here.
Yeah.
And if you got any recommendations, shoot them our way. And I may change it, may not change it. Saul may change it. He may not change it. I don't really give a shit. I'm only doing it for fun, and he's doing it for fun too.
I'm doing it for fun. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, as with anything in life, you can't grow if you're not told what you're doing wrong, or if you're not pointed out something that you could be better at.
For sure. So shoot those suggestions towards us.
Absolutely.
They're appreciated.
Very much so. All right, guys. We'll see you soon.